Yeah, fellas, welcome to the show. I'm not talking about getting ass. I'm going to talk about some archaeological findings. So some of you motherfuckers, this motherfucker need to talk about some ass. You motherfuckers just need to not watch this video. Okay? This is for intelligent people who have an interest in the world. On the island where Jovina was born, it's called the Azores. She was actually born on an island called Pico. Or Piku. And it's out in the middle of the Atlantic. It's owned by the Portuguese. It was discovered in the 1400s, but it wasn't populated until the mid-1500s. Well, they found some pyramids on that island. Whoa. Pyramids. Who are the people that built pyramids? The Egyptians. What race were the Egyptians? The original Egyptians. It's not what white supremacy will tell you. Black people. You look at the pharaoh called Menes. His statue is all black. In fact, they cover up, they've been, that Hawassi guy, he puts out there that it was white people because he wants white folks to go there because they're the ones who could afford to go there. So he's been doctoring a lot of the artifacts. So if you're black and you go to Egypt, there's a black guy that works there. Go to him. I was told this by other blacks. He'll take you into the back room where you see the black artifacts. Okay? And for white folks, you like to keep the dream going that you guys built the pyramids to stay in the front. Doesn't matter. So they found these little mini pyramids on the island of Piku. That's out there in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. We know that out of the Africa movement, they stopped in India, then they went over to Australia. They went on the coast and went to Australia. And different versions broke off. One tribe of people went down made boats, went to Australia. The belief is it was connected back then. I don't know that. And that Australia was drifting further south. So either way, they made some kind of boats because 50,000 years ago, people from Australia, they now know for a fact, it is a known scientific fact, that they actually crossed the ocean from Australia, where it is, here's Africa, here's Australia over here, all the way over and past Africa, the bottom of Africa, and went right to the South Americas. They know that for a fact. They found their bones. They found their paintings describing when the Native Americans 12,000 years ago crossed across the land bridge in Alaska. They spread into North America. They spread down into South America, out into the islands out there and all that stuff. When they killed those people off. Their paintings show wars going on. Okay? The black people call themselves the Black Fellows. White people call them Aboriginals. They separated them from Africans, although they look just like us. The only thing that they have is different hair, although some of them have afros. If you look at the Tanzanians, well, there aren't anymore. Tasmanians, in other words. Tasmanians, excuse me for saying Tanzanians. I meant Tasmanians. White people killed them off, every last one of them. The last one, she actually died in peace, I believe. But the governor of that island kept having the people slaughtered. These were, Australian, basically, which were originally English as trash. England flushed their trash out and shipped them off to Australia. Every country did that. The trash of Portugal, they got shipped to Brazil. The gangsters, the murderers, the thieves. So you wonder what Spain sent out. No wonder why the brutality in Mexico was so goddamn bad. They had things like giblets where they line all the natives up and hang them at the same time. Or they'd pour hot metals down their throat. They enjoyed seeing them, suffer. Sorry if this hurts your feelings, if you're not emotionally strong enough and your mommy babied you and created some kind of man-child. I apologize if my words are too strong for you. Sometimes you may not want to watch a man's channel. Let me give you an idea of what they found. Let's see. This would be scene 1. Now, this is the Portuguese American Journal. Archaeologists from the Portuguese Association of the Archaeological Research, APIA, have identified new archaeological evidence on Pico Island that supports their belief that human occupants of the Azores predate the arrival of the Portuguese by many thousands of years. Now understand that they also found a boat on the island of Crete, about 32 or 33,000 years old. The new evidence comprises of a great variety of protohistoric pyramidal rock structures, some of them 13 meters tall. Azorian, and that's what Giovina calls herself. She calls herself an Azorian. Portugal owns their islands, but they call themselves Azorians. Archipelago was discovered uninhabited by the Portuguese around 1427. Archaeologists working on the site believe the structures were created by ancestral occupiers of the island, suggesting they were places of worship with funeral ritual purposes. They have said that dozens of similar structures have been identified in the Madalena area of Pico. And I had a photograph of Madalena because her parents came over to this. Is how I discovered this. Looking for photographs of their island. And I thought it was actually their village, Ribeirinha. It's hard to pronounce some of their words. Like this one's easy, Madalena. But her father said, no, that's Madalena. That's not Ribeirinha. According to APIA's archaeologist Nuno Ribeiro and Annabel Joaquinito. Giovina, is it Joaquinito or Joaquinito?
What?
That girl's name? Annabel Jacques, I can't pronounce her name. Probably, maybe Giovina can pronounce it really quickly for me. Joaquinito. Joaquinito. Okay, let's see if I get the accent right. Artifacts were also found on site, which many predate the Portuguese settlement on the island. They believe the structures may have been built according to an oriented plan aligned with the summer solstices, which suggests that they were built with an intended purpose. They also believe the Madalena pyramidal structures, known by locals as, we couldn't pronounce this, she didn't know, wasn't aware of the word, but I believe it's called Mariocus, are analogists of similar prehistoric structures found in Sicily, hear that? North Africa and the Canary Islands, which were known to have served ritual purposes. Remember the talk that there were blacks all over through Europe and out in the islands? Ancient blacks got all over the world. And black historians have been saying they had boats. White historians has refused to acknowledge that, but they couldn't deny it after they found the evidence in South America. There are two currents, if you just put a boat in the water, that flows from Africa straight to South America. Okay, let's continue. One of the 140 pyramids observed, I'll be there on the island not this year, but next year, by the archaeologists in the Madalena area of Pico Island, Azores. Some of these structures reach about 13 meters. That's 43 feet high. And that's the structure right there. You see it's a step pyramid. What's the first place we saw that? Now, I've heard the whole stories of Egyptian priests leaving Egypt and traveling, and all of a sudden pyramids start popping up. I'm not sure how to spell this. Angkor Wat. But there are pyramids in all over the world. And there's something about the structure of these. Here's one of their pyramids. And they're these hidden cities that aligned with the pyramids in Egypt. In fact, someone's documenting that. I don't know how deeply you guys study anything. I think most of you don't study a goddamn thing. But I've always had an interest in this since I was in high school. More pyramid structures. What does it look like? You see the resemblance? Only this is more refined. You see resemblance. Okay? I know it's hard for some people to accept. In Texas, a professor was teaching a class, and he began the class with life began in Africa. Many of the students got up and walked out, or a portion of the students got up and walked out. They didn't want to hear that. That's how programmed white Americans are. In their own racial superiority. They can fly through the air, lift cars. They invented everything. They're the first people on the planet. In fact, many of them will refuse to believe the evidence of DNA. In fact, some of them will run to religion just so they can feel good. I say, fuck that. Get over your fragility, your fragileness. I was watching Jane Elliott, and this young blonde girl broke out in tears, and that shit we go through every damn day from our parents. And she ran out the class. You guys seen that? Not to clown white folks, but you gotta get you guys over your bullshit. That whole white superiority thing. Unfortunately, blacks were the first people on the planet, and we mapped the globe. They found ancient maps of Antarctica down to a T. Antarctica is now covered under ice. But the land, they've mapped the land underneath the ice. Those maps match. And my Caucasian friends, you got to get off that whole Atlantis, Lemuria, and Moose stuff. You guys hadn't evolved yet. There's a lot of Caucasian people that chase UFOs and flying saucers. In fact, they believe flying saucers built the pyramids. People that have been around for a couple 100,000 years couldn't have possibly thought of that stuff. Although the Egyptians told us who brought science to them. Recent additional archaeological findings in the Azores support the evidence of early human occupation of the island. Last year, archaeologist Nuno Ribeiro revealed having rock art on the island of Terceira. And that's where one of my clients is from. That's interesting. Rock art, which he also believes predates the arrival of the Portuguese by many thousands of years. In the last 3 years, Nuno, it's called Nuno, has claimed to have found a variety of additional ancient archaeological remains on other Azorean islands. Wow. They include an epigraph from Roman times, Carthaginian sanctuaries, cave art, and megalithic structures. I didn't realize they were there during Roman times, too. Wow, that's amazing. Now, people think, well, the Romans went there. Maybe. Obviously, if they're finding their stuff there, then there was somebody there. He also claimed his findings have been published in scientific magazines and presented at international conferences with great acceptance by the international scientific community. According to archaeologists studying the pyramids on the island of Pico, Azores, they seem to be oriented to the stars. Some of the pyramids do have inside chambers not yet explored. Now, another article I was reading, I think it was this one, there's a group of white scientists that are trying to debunk it. Because their goal is to separate Egypt from Africa, as they've done with that whole sub-Saharan nonsense. That's why they'll call us black folks sub-Saharan. Even though there are still black people just like us in northern Africa that have always been there since the beginning of time. There's still black people in Egypt. We do know the Arabs overran it. Yeah. And they now control most of all of northern Africa. So the white scientists have separated North Africa into sub-Saharan, even though back then it was all black folks. I've talked to a couple of Portuguese people, gotten a little discussion with them to teach them some real history. One of the little Portuguese girls, she found out she was 7% North African, and they were saying, that's okay, they were white people. And I explained, no, the people that conquered Spain and Portugal were not white. Because white supremacy is in America strong, they want to believe they were Arabs, and they were not Arabic. They were black. A man named Tariq conquered Spain and Portugal from 711. The whole thing lasts from 711 to 1492, as you've heard me state many times. Unfortunately, we live in a time period of white domination. No offense if you're white. Don't get fragile and your feelings hurt. But your people control everything. You control history. It takes black scholars going to these locations and digging out the real history to get the word out to us black folks so we can feel good for a change. So if you're black, feel good. Let this be a night that you actually, or a day when you see this video, that you actually feel good about yourself. Okay? We don't have to feel bad every day and you got to smoke weed just to feel normal. My goal is to get you brothers and sisters off the weed so you have a clear brain, because we're going to need it real soon. Real soon. We're going to need you with clear brains. All right. I don't think I'll talk to anybody today. I do see Walter said, damn, I didn't know sub-Saharan was the wrong label for black folks. It is. It was all Africa. White people created that label sub-Saharan to separate us from Egypt. That's the only reason. You go look at the Ethiopians, go out into villages on the countryside. Hold on. Let me go back to Google Images. There was a video that I used to play years ago, put out by some Ethiopians. They're very black and very tribal, very, very dark skinned. These people have not gotten mixed with Arabic or Italian. They're still pure blacks. And these are Ethiopians. Ethiopia. The Hammer people from Gambala village near Turmi. There was a mixed race Ethiopian who has a really good song out. She sings with a dark-skinned brother. And I used to play that song years ago because I found it. And I like that they showed the real natives there, not the ones that are mixed. The Ethiopians that we see, you know, they're popular. They've been mixed with Arab or Italian. Italy tried to conquer them. They kicked their ass, ran them out of Africa. The first time. I believe they got conquered the second time. But every group has tried. I think England tried for them and got their butts kicked. So these were some strong people here. In America, they always show you Africans with flies in their eyeballs. They're all starving. I don't know where they get those photos from. Maybe some desert someplace. And those areas is the only areas that they show. They don't show you tribal life that's healthy and strong. They don't show you the weakness. And you got to ask yourself, why? Why do that? When you know how society works here in America, then you understand why. Dominic, I just read an article about how Queen Elizabeth I deported the Moors from England. Good. I knew a black girl from Egypt. Good. Ken Adams says word. Okay. What's up, B Vlogs? I'm getting ready to bugger out of here. Finish this show. I don't want to keep the show too long. I want them shorter, so people will listen to the information, especially black folks. You know, zoning out. I don't want you to zone out on my shit. I want you to learn the shit, so you can develop real racial pride. So I'm gone, fellas. Peace.